The morning program with Gareth Parker, where you don't miss a thing.
All right, 9:22 on the morning program. One of the big emerging stories I think that we're going to see throughout 2018 is a greater level of scrutiny at all levels on the big technology giants that have, in a relatively short period of time, come to dominate so much of our economy. I'm talking about smartphone makers like Apple and Google, other technology platforms, Google, Facebook, which of course owns Instagram, Twitter and the like. Now, concerns about the way that we all adapt to new technology are as old as time. But I think that this year, on a number of fronts, these big technology companies are going to see large amounts of scrutiny from all sorts of quarters. I think on the financial side and on the monopoly side, regulators are going to start taking a closer look at the way that Google dominates the advertising industry, that Amazon dominates the retail industry. This will happen in Australia. It'll happen in the United States and in Europe as well. But I think we're also seeing fresh and emerging concerns about the way these technology products and services are actually addictive. And I think that one of the questions that's starting to be asked is, does there need to be a much greater level of regulation of technology and the addictive impulses that some of the companies are starting to be accused of exploiting and of harbouring? It's very interesting that there's a very large investment fund in the United States that the Wall Street Journal is reporting has actually written a letter to Apple, the maker of the world's most popular smartphone, the iPhone, and they've essentially said, we think that your product is addictive for kids and we think that you need to take more responsibility for that. You actually need to be able to give parents more control and more features to limit their children's smartphone use. It's all very interesting. My guest on the program is someone you heard from plenty last year. His name is Paul Litherland from Surf Online Safe. Paul, good morning.
Hi, Gareth. How are you? Going all right, mate?
Yeah, very well. Happy New Year to you.
Likewise.
What do you make of all of this?
Oh, I think this is a really good, strong step forward from Jana in a number of ways to sort of try to, I suppose, even the playing field to a degree in regards to the use of devices in particular, but not only the device itself, but where our teens and our kids are going while they're on their device. So it's hopefully a start of what I hope to be a wake-up call to many of these organisations to start really assessing the actual use of their devices and who is using them.
You mentioned Jana, that's Jana, that's the name of the investor fund that I mentioned. It's very interesting that it's almost the people who seek to make big dividends and profits out of Apple are the ones raising the alarm here.
I think because a lot of your smarter organisations, a lot of your more invested organisations are starting to realise the impact it does have, or starting to have globally on especially on kids. And I mean, I work in that demographic of 11 to 18-year-olds where the vast majority, and we see it all the time when we're out and about, Gareth, kids on phones all the time. So I think they're starting to realise the strong effects it is having on the social side of things, on psychological effects and all that sort of stuff. So if we don't start sort of trying to pull back on that curve, I think it will have long-term effects. And, of course, companies like this are going to miss out and be part of that effect. So, as I said, I commend them for sort of putting their hand up to at least start a ball rolling, hopefully, in the direction of more control. And I hate using that word, but moderation to a degree to help parents, I suppose, and educators.
The letter from Jana Partners urges Apple to develop new software tools to help parents control and limit phone use. What do you think of, and Apple have responded to this, they say that, well, we already do have settings in the section of each iPhone that allow parents to install and delete apps and so on. Do you think that the level of control that parents currently can have, whether or not they know how to use it is another thing, but the level of software control they can have over their kids' iPhones, do you think it's adequate as it stands at the moment?
No, I don't. I'm constantly questioning these organisations myself. in that regard. I think parents have nowhere near as much control on devices as they'd like, or as I think that they can have. And a lot of social commentators, as a result of this article coming out from Jana, have jumped up saying, oh, look, why don't parents just parent? It's not as easy as that, Gareth. I mean, number one, kids, they all want a device. They want the best device out there. So parents can feel pressured to purchase their kids the device. So some parents will go, okay, cool, I'm happy to get you the brand new iPhone, but it does have restrictions on it. So I can monitor this, I can block this, and I can block that. But the kid can still go on the device. The kid can still use the device. Yes, they might not be able to use those apps, but they are still interacting and using the screen. So wouldn't it be great, and I'm hopefully not burning myself here, but wouldn't it be great for Apple or Microsoft to bring out a parent device, or a device that can be handed to a child that a parent can take real good steps to lock down, so they know that they at least got some level of control over when it goes off, when it goes on, and when it can be used.
I wonder if it's the sort of thing that you could actually have a pretty simple to use feature that says, you know what, for 1 hour today, this phone can have all of the applications available, but outside that 1 hour, say between, 6 and 7 p.m, it really just functions as a dumb phone. It can make phone calls and send texts, and that's about it.
Well, wouldn't that be great? But I mean, they can do that now, Gareth, and this is the frustration that comes in. And I question a number of organisations, and we talk about Facebook quite regularly, and I'll pick on those guys because they're the leading social networking organisation in the world. We talk about nudes, we talk about sexuality online, all that sort of stuff. They can turn off all that inappropriate material right now, but they don't. Why? Because it's making them money. And we look at Google. I mean, they're advertising the Google Mini now, so that's in your house now, monitoring 24 hours a day. It's picking up on voice, it's picking up on conversation. So they want users to be on the device. So to turn that capability off, even if it is for 4 or 5 hours a day, which would be great for a parent, they're costing themselves a lot of money. So this is where we push back to your intro, where it's now great to see some really good leading organisations to go, you know what, we need to start doing this. But sadly, not a lot of them are listening. And when you're making $48 million a day from people just scrolling away on a device, it's going to be hard for these organisations to sort of take a step back.
It's interesting, isn't it? I think that for many of the big tech giants, they are facing a big decision to make. It's either improve your corporate behaviour or face a much heavier touch from regulators right around the world than they have experienced to date.
Yeah, and that's where we need to be now. And I think we've sort of wallowed in the she'll be right for a while, but we really now need to start making wholesale changes. And it's not only, again, I don't want to deflect the responsibility from parents, of course, but we've got to look at the big picture. Not only parents, but the kids themselves, even educators, schools, start putting things in place, which is a holistic approach. It's not just one person or one delegation of responsibility. Let's get a whole pile of people involved where we can put these things in place. We can turn that off. Block here, block there. So if a parent does still choose to allow their kid to use the phone 24 hours a day, they leave it in their bedroom at night, they don't put it away at night, then that's their choice. But still put little things in place where we can all start to move forward. And that's what I'm trying to push, and this is where it's great, where organisations like this can hopefully help continue to push, hopefully this year and into the future, to help make our lives and the lives, more importantly, the lives of our kids a little bit easier.
Thanks for your time, Paul.
What up, mate? All the best.
Cheers. Paul Litherland, Surf Online.
What up, mate? All the best.
Cheers. Paul Litherland, Surf Online.
What up, mate?